Okay, and the reading list for today is Eleanor, April, even though she was swearing at the time, Reem, Nina, and then Moz. Okay. So let me type it up so that we can remember the order in which we're reading. Now, does everybody know where we're up to? Okay, you need to find this part of the book. No, they said, and hastened away. And here's the link to the book. Yeah, thank you, Reem. Thank you. I always do Control F in the actual document. Okay.
But last week, have I missed one session? Because I am not there.
No session, April.
There was no
it
session.
was cancelled.
Yeah.
Of course,
So
I did come. I did come.
7 August, 14 August, we didn't have anything. So I stopped with. I thought that I have to start with. Well, what is it? No.
Let's have a look. What have you got, Eleanor, as yours? Oh, here comes Shiny. Hi, Shiny.
The last, the same passage you have
good.
posted. Yeah. And last week I did come, so there was no session, of course.
No,
of course
I know.
I didn't
check the calendar.
Yeah,
the calendar. Now, just to confirm, next week, no session. So I'm telling you now. I will be
this Wednesday, no session either.
No, on Thursday night we'll be in Kitely for Speakeasy, just general chit chat, and we're talking about Vikings and reading about Vikings. That's not in the calendar yet, but I'm going to replace that in the calendar. I need a break from German, but the whole week I am going to be immersing myself in German, okay, for my exam. And my exam is next Monday. Okay. My exam is on the Monday, and it's a whole day exam. I'll be in Frankfurt the whole day, so no sessions next Monday, okay?
Fingers crossed, of course.
But hopefully there'll be a vocabulary challenge. There'll be a listening exercise tomorrow on English radio. And of course, Natasha, Marion, and Gemma will be on the forum to field any questions and chit chat with anybody who wants to. Okay, so, and if anybody wants to just go to Discord and start chatting and using voice, use the network to contact those people you like talking to. Okay, you can always just because I'm not there doesn't mean to say you should stop talking. You don't need constant feedback all the time. You really don't. Okay, so I'll just pop Shiny. You had trouble with moving. Sorry you're late. No worries, Shiny. As you can see, we had some issues this morning. You can ask April about them later. But I'm very glad you muted your microphone, April, when you were cursing. I would had to ban you otherwise. Okay, so Shiny, I will add you to the reading list as well. Bear with me a second. Where are you? And then Shiny after Moz. Okay, so Eleanor, you're going to kick us off today. If you would like to, well, basically start reading as soon as you're ready.
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Awesome.
No, they said, and hastened away. They would have to defend the castle presently, and the lamb was safer even suspended in mid-air in an invisible kitchen than in the guard room of the besieged castle. They went through the first doorway they came to, and sat down helplessly on a wooden bench that ran along the room inside. "How awful!" said Antia and Jane together, and Jane added, "I feel as if I was in a lunatic asylum." What does it mean? Antia said. "It's creepy. I don't like it. I wish we'd wished for something plain, a rocking horse or a donkey or something. It's no use wishing now, said Robert bitterly, and Cyril said, do be quiet, I want to think. He buried his face in his hands, and the others looked about them. They were in a long room with an arched roof. There were wooden tables along it, and one across at the end of the room on a sort of raised platform. The room was very dim and dark. The floor was strewn with dry things like sticks, and they did not smell nice. Cyril sat up suddenly and said, look here, it's all right. I think it's like this. You know, we wished that the servants shouldn't notice any difference when we got wishes, and nothing happens to the lamb unless we specially wish it to. So, of course, they don't notice the castle or anything. But then the castle is on the same place where our house is, and the servants have to go on being in the house, or else they would notice. But you can't have a castle mixed up with our house. And so we can't see the house because we see the castle, and they can't see the castle because they go on seeing the house, and so. Oh, don't, said Jane. You make my head go all swimmy like being on a roundabout. It doesn't matter. Only I hope we shall be able to see our dinner, that's all, because if it's invisible, it'll be unfeelable as well, and then we can't eat it. I know it will, because I tried to feel if I could feel the lamb's chair, and there was nothing under him at all but air. And we can't eat air, and I feel just as if I hadn't had any breakfast for years and years. It's no use thinking about it, said Andrea. Let's go on exploring. Perhaps we might find something to eat. This lighted hope in every breast, and they went on exploring the castle. But though it was the most perfect and delightful castle you can possibly imagine, and furnished in the most complete and beautiful manner, neither food nor men-at-arms were to be found in it. If you'd only thought of wishing to be besieged in a castle thoroughly garrisoned and provisioned, said Jane reproachfully. You can't think of everything, you know, said Anthea. I should think it must be nearly dinner time by now. It wasn't, but they hung about watching the strange movements of the servants in the middle of the courtyard, because, of course, they couldn't be sure when the dining room of the invisible house was. Presently they saw Martha carrying an invisible tray across the courtyard, for it seemed that, by the most fortunate accident, the dining room of the house and the banqueting hall of the castle were in the same place. But oh, how their hearts sank when they perceived that the tray was invisible. They waited in a wretched silence, while Martha went through the form of carving an unseen leg of mutton and serving invisible greens and potatoes with a spoon that no one could see. When she had left the room, the children looked at the empty table and then at each other. This is worse than anything, said Robert, who had not till now been particularly keen on his dinner. I'm not so very hungry, said Anthea, trying to make the best of things as usual. Cyril tightened his belt ostentatiously. Jane burst into tears.
Very good, well done.
Oh.
Nicely. Oh, perfect place to stop you. Okay, so I did let you read a little bit longer than the 5 minutes, but yeah, nicely read. Hello, Traum, nice to see you. Okay, so the first word, only two little words for you. The first one, donkey, not donkey.
Donkey.
Donkey, yeah.
Donkey.
That's it.
This
And the
fossilized
second
mistake, I
one,
think.
go on. The second one, say it.
Yeah, Abel.
Yes, Abel, not Abe, Abel. Okay, the next one, I just want to point out to everybody the vagaries of English pronunciation. So here we have the word wretched with the W. That's wretched, you wretched thing, you. Or you feel wretched when you feel really bad. And then we've got wretched, which is to feel sick if you're actually physically being sick, if you're vomiting, you're retching, okay? And she retched. So you can see that having rules about word endings when it comes to voiced E or silent E can be really difficult. You have to learn them. So wretched, wretch, wretched. Okay, the wretched man retched. You can think of. Try and put them into a sentence. The wretched man retched. Wretchedly. Okay. Any questions about that passage?
Yeah, one.
One. Okay, go for it.
What was the correct pronunciation of lunatic? I
Lunatic.
heard, yeah. So Eleanor said lunatic.
Oh,
That's not right. Is
okay. No, lunatic.
Sorry.
No, well done.
I just
It's great.
can't
No,
help
it's good. It's great having a second pair of ears, because sometimes I might be typing one word and then I just miss it. So I didn't get that, but lunatic. Do you want to say it, Eleanor?
Lunatic. Yeah. Lunatic. Yeah. I know. I have this in my notes.
You're still saying lunatic. Lunatic.
No, lunatic. No, lunatic. It's okay?
I would say the schwa's not quite schwary enough for me. So if you have a look at the pronunciation,
Lunatic?
That's better. Lunatic.
Yeah.
And we do say luna as in luna, not luna. Okay? Luna, the
I
goddess,
see.
the goddess for the moon. Yeah, luna. Okay? So lunatic, somebody who's driven mad by the moon, or somebody who's mad. Okay? That's it, yeah.
Luna. Yeah. Lunatic. Yeah, okay.
Okay, good. Then, well done, April. Okay, any other questions?
Nina will leave soon, she said. She will read first, maybe?
No, I don't think she's got voice. Okay, you have no white dot. If I'm looking at her, she's got no white dot. So she did have it earlier, but that can fluctuate. We had the same problem on... Yeah. You could try relogging. Yeah. It can work sometimes, or sometimes the only thing that will work is to just wait a bit. You can listen in on the YouTube stream. Okay. It's not as good as being able to read, of course, but that's life. Can't do everything, and these things can go awry, I'm afraid to say. Let me just get the stream. Oh, no. Can't type today. Okay. I'll get you the stream, Nina. Okay. It always takes longer than I expect to get to the stream, especially when I'm not logged in at my streaming account. My fault. Sorry about this. So, stream health. Oh, yep, there I am talking to myself. Okay, so you can watch there. I'll send her a message in World just to say. It's always disappointing when that happens. It's just, especially when you've been staying up such a long time, but that's life. So let's just go to Nina. And where are you? Ah, she's not showing up yet. Okay. Ah, there she is. Okay. So Nina. I'm not going to do that when it's only one person. Okay. Hi, Nina. You've got a white dot. Awesome. Well done. Okay. Okay, so let's carry on then. I'll close that down for now because I don't want to strain my computer. And the next person to read is April. So April, if you have no other questions or points. And Elinor, you need to listen very carefully to April's reading.
Yeah, of course, to take revenge, but you know, I feel it's always so.
More correction than you, Lynn.
Okay, so April, whenever you're ready. I'm only joking. Unless you want to, Elinor.
I don't want this. Well, Elinor.
Yep. April, take it away.
A siege and bed. The children were sitting in the gloomy banqueting hall at the end of one of the long, bare wooden tables. There was now no hope. Martha had brought in the dinner, and the dinner was invisible and unfeelable too, for when they rubbed their hands along the table they knew but too well that for them there was nothing there but table. Suddenly Cyril felt in his pocket. Right, oh, he cried, look here, biscuits! Somewhat broken and crumbled, certainly, but still biscuits. There 3 whole ones and a generous handful of crumbs and fragments. I got them this morning, cook, and I'd quite forgotten, he explained, as he divided them with scrupulous fairness into 4 heaps. They were eaten in a happy silence, though they had an odd taste, because they had been in Cyril's pocket all the morning with a hank of tart twine, some green fir cones, and a ball of cobbler's wax. Yes, but look here, Squirrel, said Robert. You're so clever at explaining about invisibleness and all that. How is it the biscuits are here and all the bread and meat and things have disappeared? I don't know, said Cyril after a pause. Unless it's because we had them. Nothing about us has changed. Everything's in my pocket all right. Then if we had the mutton, it would be real, said Robert. Oh, don't I wish we could find it. But we can't find it. I suppose it isn't ours till we've got it in our mouths. Or in our pockets, said Jane, thinking of the biscuits. Who puts mutton in their pockets, goose girl? Said Cyril. But I know, at any rate, I'll try it. He leaned over the table with his face about an inch from it and kept opening and shutting his mouth as if he were taking bites out of air. It's no good, said Robert in deep dejection. You'll only... Hello? Cyril stood up with a grin of triumph, holding a square piece of bread in his mouth. It was quite real. Everyone saw it. It is true that directly he bit a piece off, the rest vanished. But it was all right because he knew he had it in his hand, though he could neither see nor feel it. He took another bite from the air between his fingers, and it turned into bread as he bit. The next moment, all the others were following his example and opening and shutting their mouths an inch or so from the bare-looking table. Robert captured a slice of mutton, but I think I will draw a veil over the rest of this painful scene. It is enough to say that they all had enough mutton, and that when Martha came to change the plates, she said she had never seen such a mess in all her born days. The pudding was fortunately a plain suet one, and in answer to Martha's questions, the children all with one accord said that they would not have molasses on it, nor jam, nor sugar. Just plain, please, they said. Martha said, "Well, I never. What next, I wonder?" and went away. Then ensued after another scene on which I will not dwell, for nobody looks nice picking up slices of suet pudding from the table in its mouth like a dog. The great thing, after all, was that they had had dinner, and now everyone felt more courage to prepare for the attack that was to be delivered before sunset. Robert, as captain, insisted on climbing to the top of one of the towers to reconnoiter. I don't know. Reconnoiter. So up they all went. And now they could see all round the castle, and could see too that beyond the moat, on every side, tents of the besieging party were pitched. Rather uncomfortable shivers ran down the children's backs as they saw that all the men were very busy cleaning or sharpening their arms, restringing their bows, and polishing their shields. A large party came along the road, with horses dragging along the great trunk of a tree, and Cyril felt quite pale because he knew this was for a battering ram. "What a good thing we've got a moat," he said, "and what a good thing the drawbridge is up. I should never have known how to work it."
Well done. Okay.
I want to read it as in French.
Yes.
In French.
And that's normal. That's normal to try to do that.
It's reconnoiter.
Yes, it is indeed. It is. Well done.
But you know,
Reconnoiter.
it's remarkable that some military terms are really French. I think it's
that's because they invaded us.
Historically, many. Yeah, I thought so.
Yep.
There was also Pali.
Yes,
Pali.
Yeah, the food and the war. Okay, let me just get my text chat up. I don't know what's happened to it. It's disappeared. Here we go. So April, nicely read. Now, the first one is quite funny because you keep saying bar. It's not. It's bear, like bear, like a bear. Yeah, a bear.
Okay.
Try it.
A bear.
That's it.
What does
yeah.
it?
You were saying
is
something
the,
like bar.
the one?
Bar. It's
Yeah,
a bear.
because I thought it was the kind of bar like in the court. In the court was bear. But what does it mean then?
Naked.
Naked. Oh, okay.
Okay, but it can also be used as a sort of a modifier, like what a bare cheek. It just means it's an extreme cheekiness, if you like. I can't remember what the context in the book was, so bear with me. So, okay. The right to bear arms as well, but that's BEAR. And I'm just trying to make sure I don't lose where I am. in the text by looking this up, so bear with me a second. Okay, so bear. Okay, a bare room, a room with nothing in it, and a bare-looking table. There was nothing on the table. So bare can be naked, but it can also mean the lack of something. Yeah.
Okay.
If you ever read Old Mother Hubbard, Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to get her poor doggy a bone, but when she got there, the cupboard was bare, and so the poor doggy had none. It's a sad tale. Okay. Then the next one.
Like in barefoot, barefoot.
Barefoot, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
As opposed to bare feet. Which would be bare paws. Barefoot, bare paws. Okay. The next one is scrupulous. Scrupulous.
Scrupulous.
Yeah, not scrupulous, scrupulous.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was in the first U. Scrupulous.
That's
Scrupulous.
it. So, for example,
okay, I got
April is scrupulous, checking my listening skills. Then the next one is fir cones. Again, fir is another little homophone, which sounds like fur. So fir cones. Okay.
Fir cones. Is that
Yeah.
the cones like the
pine
the
cones.
cake, please?
Pine
Okay.
cones that come off the tree. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Fir cones.
Yeah, so
Fir
if you've got a pine tree in your garden, or if you go for a walk in woods and there's lots of pine trees, you'll find the fir cones lying on the ground. And some people collect them. You can get huge ones in France. They're massive, absolutely massive. Okay, next one is not sweat, suet. Sweat pudding would be horrible. Ew. Suet. Suet pudding.
Suet.
It's in my
Suet.
notes, so I didn't know this word.
It's the
It's
fat
a
off
kind
the organs.
of fat,
Yeah.
organs. Yeah, I have found it.
You
Yeah,
can get vegetarian suet, which is made of vegetable fat, but a lot of puddings in the UK are made with suet. So, for example, there is suet in Christmas mince pies and Christmas pudding, and you'll find suet in steak and kidney pudding, and in a lot of the other spongy puddings like spotted dick, etc. They're all made with this suet. Okay, but it's not sweat. Sweat is what comes out of you when it's hot. The moisture that comes out of your forehead or under your arms, you sweat. And suet, as I said, is the hard fat that you can get from animal carcasses to make suet pudding. Okay. The next one, April, is molasses. Not molasses, molasses. It's something we've taken from the Americans. We take their pronunciation of it because we don't use molasses that much. So molasses, okay?
Molasses.
Yes,
Molasses.
that's it. Good. Basically, it's a syrup, okay? It's like from raw sugar. It's a very dark, sticky syrup from raw sugar before it's been turned into white sugar. Then Eleanor's already done reconnoitre. So it's not it's a false prefix. It's not like to redo something. It's reconnoitre. And then this next one is a
reconnoitre.
Yes.
Is that it? Reconnoitre.
Yeah, reconnoitre. Okay. If you like, I'll play it on line as well. Here you go.
reconnoiter, reconnoiter,
Okay. That one, reconnoiter. Okay. Then the next word is restringing, not stringing. It's a ing, restringing.
And string.
String.
What is that?
Stringy.
Is that stringy?
Stringy.
Like this one?
Yeah, stringy. If you're
Stringy.
yeah, stringy, but restringing. But not G, not stringy. We do say stingy, as in when somebody's mean with money. Oh, don't be stingy with the molasses. Pour lots on. Okay. But stringy, stringing, string. Okay.
And re, not re. Re.
Not re. No,
or
as you can see, it's a prefix. So you string a violin, you string a guitar. Yeah, to put the strings on it. If one of those strings breaks, you need to restring it. You need to put another string on, okay? And they're restringing their bows, ready to fire arrows at the castle, okay?
Restringing.
Yes, that's it. Good. Then the next one, it's just about stress here. And you'll notice if you look at that piece of text, you'll notice that we and us are both hyphenated, so you stress them. So, unless it's because we had them, nothing about us has changed. Do you want to try it?
Unless it's because we had them. Nothing about us has changed.
Yeah, nothing about us has changed.
Nothing about us has changed.
Very good, very good. Cobbler wax is the wax used by cobblers. Cobblers make shoes. So it's the wax they use on the leather for shoes. Okay. Okay, the next one is about stress. Well, I never. It's a common exclamation that was used a lot in the past. It's not so often that you'd hear somebody say, well, I never, although that said, somebody did say that within my hearing the other week and everybody went, I haven't heard that for years, but it's just an exclamation of surprise. Well, I never. Try it.
Okay, so well is not well, I never.
No, it's not well.
Never.
It's just an exclamation.
Okay.
They go together. Don't take them individually as individual words. Yeah. Well, I never heard that before. And then the next bit is, what next, I wonder?
Okay. Okay. Well, I never. What next? What next? I wonder.
What next, I wonder?
What next? I wonder.
That's
what
it.
What next? I wonder.
It's basically, they're just two exclamations of, well, I wasn't expecting that. What am I going to see next? But they're just common phrases. Little old-fashioned now, but yeah, you hang around with the right people, you will hear it. Okay, and then let me just see where that says. Ooh. Oh yeah, no, the next bit is just me. I was like, why did I write that up? But just where we got up to. Accord. To accord somebody politeness or courtesy, and to do something of your own accord. Okay. Do you want to try pronouncing it, Shiny? Accord.
Because April pronounced accord.
April!
Yes, Shiny, well done.
Awesome. I'm going to retire. You guys are getting better than me.
I thought that nobody heard that.
Well done. So, accord, April. Do you want to say it?
Accord.
Much better. Well done.
Accord.
Awesome, Shiny. Well done. Okay, next then. We've got... who's next reading? Reem. So Reem, if you're ready to read. Don't forget to unmute.
Yeah?
Okay, go for it whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Yes. Of course. Of course. It would be up in Passage Castle. You'd think there ought to have been soldier in it. Wouldn't you? Said Robert. You see, you don't know how long it's been besieged, said Cyril darkly. Perhaps most of brave defenders were killed quite early in siege, and all the provision eaten. And now there are only a few interpret surfacers. That's us, and we are going to defend it to the death. How do you begin defending to the death? I mean, asked Anta. We ought to be heavily armed and then shout at them when they advise to the attack. They used to power polling, let down on besiegers when they got too close, said Auntie. Father, should me the holes on a process for pouring it down through the Bowden Castle, and there are holes like it in the Get Towers here. I think I'm glad it's only game. It is only game, isn't it? Said Jenny. But no one answered. The children found plenty of strange weapons in the castle, and if they were armed at all, it was soon planned that they would be. And Cyril said, "Armed heavy for these swords and lances and crossbows were far too weighty even for serious melee strings. And as for long bows, none of the children could even begin to bend them. The diggers were better, but Jen hoped that the besiegers would not come close even for diggers to be of any use. Never mind, we can hear them like javelins, said Cyril, or drop them on people's heads. I say, there are lots of stones on other side of the courtyard. If we talk them of those up, just to drop on their hands if they were to try swimming the mud. So a heap of stones grow up in the room above the gate, and another heap, a shiny, spiky, dangerous looking heap of daggers and knives. As Auntie was crossing the country yard for more stones. Suddenly and valuable idea come to her. She went to Martha and said, "May we have just biscuits for tea? We're going to be to play at Besiege Castle, and would like the biscuit to prefigure the cars the Gary Gary the garrison. Put mine in my pockets, please. My hands are so dirty, and I'll tell the other to fetch theirs."
Very good.
This
Well
was
done.
it.
Okay. Yep. Stop. Well done. Okay.
Yeah,
Nicely read. Good. You're getting there. But we've got quite a few words to go through. So let's have a look at the individual words first.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So the first one, besieged. To besiege somebody. Yeah. To besiege.
Yes.
Okay.
To besiege.
Yeah. So the
To besiege.
past is besieged.
Besieged.
That's
Besieged.
it, yeah. Okay. Sometimes you can feel besieged by things going on around you, but in this case, it is a war, and it is the army trying to siege the castle. So we've got early in the siege. Besieged, siege. Early in the
Yeah.
siege. Try it.
Early in the siege.
That's it. Then the intrepid survivors. Intrepid.
Yes. Intrepid suffices.
That's it. Yeah.
Suffices.
So if you're survivors, people who survive something, they live through it. And if you're intrepid, you're very what's a good way of saying intrepid? Normally it's people who explore places. You call them an intrepid explorer. Fearless. You're all intrepid English learners, okay? You're fearless English learners. Okay, next we've got Anthea. Okay, Anthea.
Anthea.
That's it.
Anthea.
That's it.
Then
Then
Anthea.
perfect. And then armed. It's a silent E.
Armed.
Armed. That's it. Like harmed, armed. It just means they had weapons. Okay. Then the opposite of feminine is manly. Manly.
Manly.
Yes, when somebody's very, when a man is very, behaves in a very sort of masculine way, a very masculine way of behaving, they're being manly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one, begin. Begin. That's it. Then daggers, not diggers.
We miss a word weapons.
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 Weapons. Weapons. Weapons.
Weapons.
You get the p, not b, p. Weapons.
Weapons. I notice I have a problem in P and P.
P and B, yeah, I know. You're not alone. The only thing you can do is practice, practice, practice. Try some of the tongue twisters like Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers and Betty bought some butter. Okay, try practicing those tongue twisters. Okay. Anyway, let's carry on.
Okay.
Daggers, not diggers. Daggers.
Daggers.
That's it. Yeah. And javelins.
Javelins.
Yeah.
Javelins.
Javelins are, if you watch athletics, javelins are the long lances that the athletes throw in the air. They look like spears, but they're called daggers. Then, they're called javelins. Then heads with an eh sound. Heads. Yeah.
Heads.
Like your head and then plural heads. Okay. When you visit England, you go to these old castles, you'll find a big ditch dug around the castle. They're called a moat. Moat.
Moat.
Not mort, moat. Like oat.
Moat. Moat. Is that right?
You need to work on the O sound. Moat. Moat.
Moat.
Better, good. Then apace.
Okay.
When something's happening quickly, it goes apace. Apace.
Yes, apace.
That's
apace.
it, good. Then this next one, shiny, spiky, dangerous looking heap. Shiny, like Shiny's name. Spiky,
Yeah.
when something's like a hedgehog is spiky, and dangerous looking
Yes.
heap. Try it.
Yes, shiny, spiky, dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous looking.
Dangerous looking, heavy.
Heap.
Heap.
Heap. A pile
Shiny
of stones is a heap of stones.
Heap.
Yeah, heap. Okay.
Heap. Yes.
Then the next one is knives. A knife, singular, knives, plural. That's it, good.
Yes.
Then some people don't have a garden. Instead, they have like concrete and a courtyard. A courtyard.
Courtyard.
Good. Then the next one, just the phrase, pour boiling lead.
Pour boiling lead.
Pour boiling lead.
Pour boiling lead.
Yeah,
What's the meaning?
they would melt the metal lead and pour it onto the heads of the besieging army. It was a defence used. Boiling oil and boiling lead would be poured off the battlements onto the heads of the army attacking.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice, eh? Okay, the next one, just about stress. I think I'm glad it's only a game. It is only a game, isn't it? Said Jane. Okay, so it's only a game. Don't ignore the fact the article's there. So I think I'm glad it's only a game. It is only a game, isn't it? Said Jane.
I think I'm glad it's only a game. It's only a game, isn't it?
Very good. Good. Well done. Hi, Sarah. I think you're...
Thank.
Okay, so Sarah is having a problem with voice, I think. It's coming in and out on my... So sometimes you... Okay, just a tip. Sometimes when you first log in, you do need to just wait a bit to see if voice catches up with you. Okay, just because you're logged in, sometimes you do have to wait to see if voice catches up. And if you're having problems, go to the forum and go to the Virtual Worlders group. Okay, so in the forum, go to groups, and in Virtual Worlders you will find some tips for how to set your mic and how to tweak your microphone settings if you're having voice issues. Okay. Okay, so bear with me a second. I'll see if I can find it for you. Okay. Okay, so who's next to read? I think it's Nina. Nina, have you got voice still? Can we hear you? That's the most important thing. No voice. Okay, then. Oh, you've got a white dot. That's weird. Normally that would indicate you do have voice, but if it's not working, it's not working. So let's see who else is. That's strange. Trying to find the text. Haha, I've lost it. Okay, bear with me. Okay, so sorry about that, Nina. Then the next person to read after Nina was Traum. Traum, have you still got voice?
Yes, I have got.
Okay, awesome. Then
Okay. Where have you stopped?
oh no, you can't do that.
She went to Marfa, I think. Am I right?
Hang on a second. She
Sorry.
This was indeed a happy thought.
Okay.
Okay.
This was indeed a happy thought, for now with 4 generous handfuls of air, which turned to biscuits as Martha crammed it into their pockets. The garrison was well bruinized till sundown. They brought up some iron pots of cold water to pour on the besiegers instead of hot lead, with which the castle did not seem to be provided. The afternoon passed with wonderful quickness. It was very exciting, but none of them, except Robert, could feel all the time that it was real deadly dangerous work. To the others, who had only seen the camp and the besiegers from a distance, the whole thing seemed half a game of make-believe and half a splendidly distinct and perfectly safe dream. But it was only now and then that Robert could feel this. When it seemed to be tea time, the biscuits were eaten, with water from the deep well in the courtyard drunk out of horns. Cyril insisted on putting by 8 of the biscuits in case anyone should feel faint in stress of battle. Just as he was putting away the reserve biscuits in a sort of little stone cupboard without a door, a sudden sound made him drop 3. It was the loud, fierce cry of a trumpet. "You see, it is real," said Robert, "and they are going to attack." All rushed to the narrow windows. "Yes," said Robert, they're all coming out of their tents and moving about like ants. There is that Jacking dancing about where the bridge joins on. I wish he could see me put my tongue out at him. Yeah. The others were far too pale to wish to put their tongues out at anybody. They looked at Robert with surprised respect. Anthea said, "You really are brave, Robert." Rot. Grizzle's pallor turned to redness now, all in a minute. He's been getting ready to be brave all the afternoon, and I wasn't ready, that's all. I shall be braver than he is in half a jiffy. "Oh dear," said Jane, "what does it matter which of you is the bravest? I think Cyril was perfect silly to wish for a castle, and I don't want to play." "It isn't," Robert was beginning sternly, but Anthea interrupted. "Oh yes, you do," she said coaxingly. "It's a very nice game, really, because they can't possibly get in, and if they do, the women and children are always spared by civilized armies." "But are you quite sure they are civilized?" asked Jane, panting. "They seem to be such a long time ago." "Of course they are," Antifa cheerfully threw at the little flags on their lances. "How bright they are, and how fine the leader is. Look, that's him, isn't it, Robert, on the grey horse?" Jane consented to look, and the scene was almost too pretty to be alarming. The green turf, the white tents, the flash of pennoned lances, the gleam of armor, and the bright colors of scarf and tunic. It was just like a splendid colored picture. The trumpets were sounding, and when the trumpeters stopped for breath, the children could hear the cling-clang of armor and the murmur of voices. A trumpeter came forward to the edge of the moat, which now seemed very much narrower than at first, and blew the longest and loudest blast they had yet heard. When the blaring noise had died away, a man who was with the trumpeter shouted, "What ho! Within there!" and his voice came plainly to the person in the gatehouse. "Hullo! There!" Robert bellowed back at once. "In the name of our Lord the King, and of our good Lord and trusty leader, Sir Wulfric de Talbot, we summon this castle to surrender, o' pain of fire and sword and no quarter. Do ye surrender?"
Very good.
No,
Well done.
no.
Okay. Yeah, stop.
Okay.
Oh, what a cliffhanger. Now, first of all, I'd like to just apologise. I got the hang on, I've got a bit of voice problems. Okay, so yeah, apologies. I got the order of the reading wrong because I was looking at another page in the forum and I came back and I looked at the wrong list. So sorry about that to Moz especially, because it is Moz's go next, or it was Moz's go next. But anyway, we will give Traum her corrections, and it was very nicely read. Well done. Okay, so let's do the individual words. Yes, no quarter, exactly. Okay, so much for the girls and civilized armies sparing the women and children. No quarter means everybody's going to die. Okay, first word for you, Traum, is provisioned. Provisioned.
Okay. Provisioned.
Provisions, yeah. If you have provisions, you have things to eat to sustain you. Okay. Once upon a time, it was a more popular word for food and drink, but nowadays it's a bit specialist. Okay. Then
it's used more in the army, I think.
Yeah, it's in the army, or if you were to go on some kind of long trek through the jungle, you might want to make sure that you're well provisioned before you do it. Maybe up in the mountains. Yeah, if you're going mountain climbing, you need to be well provisioned, okay? Now, the next one's a very common word to muddle up, and it's accept, not expect. If you expect something, you're waiting for it to happen. If you accept something, you're basically... it's not going to happen. So this will happen, except that won't happen. So except is an exception. It's not there. It's hang on. I've got
Except.
Yeah, except. Sorry, I've got a definite problem with my voice today.
Okay.
I keep seeing my little green wavy lines keep disappearing. Oh no. Okay, so let's hope that works. Hang on, let me just switch it on and off again. The great fix for all problems, switch it on and off again. Okay, so except, it's anything but, not including. Yeah, so everybody here has voice except Nina. Okay, I was expecting Nina to be able to speak, but she doesn't have voice. But everyone else does, which is such a shame. Okay, then the next one, really important, moving like ants, not moving like aunts. I don't know how aunts move. ants. Ants.
Ants is the animal, and ants is you and I.
Yes.
Okay. Ants.
When your brothers
Das A ist spoken water.
are
Lynn.
ants and ants. As.
Okay. The ants. Ants are animals, and aunts are
Are people.
aunts.
Aunts are aunties, yes. Okay, I liked the idea of moving around like aunts, but I couldn't quite picture
Yes.
what that movement would be like.
Especially when getting up from a seatling.
Exactly,
then I am also
Elder,
first steps.
maybe elderly aunts. Elderly aunts.
Yes, I understand. I
Good.
feel the same.
Okay, the next one, pallor. Pallor. When you're very pale, you have a certain pallor.
Okay, pallor.
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 Yeah, that's it. The colour of your... Generally talking about the face, actually. The colour, you can be flushed, and it generally means pale, an unhealthy pallor, a pale appearance. Like Dracula, he had a pallor.
Pallor. Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes it's pretty difficult to find the right or the correct pronunciation when you do not know
the word, absolutely.
you know
But think
word.
pal. Yeah, he's my pal.
Pal.
Pallor. Okay. Always look for the parts of the word that you think you might recognise. That it's, doesn't always work, but quite often it does. Because when you say parlour, can't quite remember what you said, but if you said parlour, parlour is an old-fashioned word for like the living room, the parlour. Come into my parlour, said the spider to the fly. Then the next one, pennand. Pennand. Silent E. Pennand.
Pennon.
Yeah, a pennon is like a triangular flag. Nowadays, you wouldn't see that many of them, except if you went sailing, maybe. But you would fly.
Have I lost? Ah, it's okay.
Are you okay?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah, so it's pennon, pennant. Yeah, it's a kind of flag. It's a triangular shaped flag. You normally see them on ships nowadays. So if you were to see the tall ships race, you will see these triangular flags. They're pennons or pennants as well. Okay, the next one, I just want to confirm that you know what it means to put something by. It says here, putting by. Do you know what it means if you put something by?
To hand something over?
Not quite. No, it's the opposite, actually. My mother always used to put something by every week. She would put a little bit of money away every week.
Spare money.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it. So to put it by means to kind of save it. So he was saving the biscuits. He was putting it by just in case they needed something in an emergency. Okay, like an emergency fund to put it by. Okay.
Nice. Okay, I understand.
Yes.
Nice words. Nice thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you get a smiley for leader. You started with leader and then you changed it to leader. Quite right. Lead is the metal and to lead is the
Leader.
verb. Yep, leader. And then just this one is about a little bit about enunciation. So, on pain of fire and sword and no quarter, do ye surrender. Okay. Try it.
On pain of fire and sword and no quarter, do ye surrender.
Yeah, good. That ye is the old English for you. Thee and ye.
Do you?
Yeah, that's it. Do ye surrender. Very good. Any questions? Oh, beauty parlour. Yeah, absolutely, April. And the parlour can also be where you store the food as well.
Yes. Pantry. Is it not the same as pantry, Lynn?
Pantry. The pantry, yeah.
Oh,
Not
pantry.
strictly speaking, the pantry is only for food, but the parlour could be a place to greet people, like a sitting room, but it might also contain food in the past. Okay. And it comes from the French, of course, parler. And we still have ice cream parlours, yeah? An ice cream parlour. As well as the beauty parlour. Just basically shops as well. So it is a word still in use, but in the context of having a parlour in your house, it's a little old-fashioned, okay? Okay, so let's have a look who's next to read. And back on track. So, Moz, are you ready to read?
Ready to read, but I lost I lost it.
You've lost
I
the
forgot to highlight it
place.
to you.
Okay, well, you've got to do a bit of acting for this one then. It's from here. Okay.
No ball, Robert. Okay, this is okay. I see it.
You got it? Good. Whenever you're ready,
yes,
then.
yes. I will. No, bowed Robert. Of course we don't. Never, never, never. The man answered back. Then your fate be on your own heads. Cheer, said Robert, in a fierce whisper. Cheer to show them we aren't afraid, and rattle the daggers to make more noise. 1, 2, 3. Hip, hip, hooray! Again, hip, hip, hooray! One more, hip, hip, hooray! The cheers were rather high and weak, but the rattle of the daggers lent them strength and depth. There was another shout from the camp across the moat, and then the beleaguered fortress felt that the attack had indeed begun. It was getting rather dark in the room above the great gate, and Jane took a very little courage as she remembered that sunset couldn't be far off now. The moat is dreadfully thin, said Anthea, but they can't get into the castle even if they do swim over, said Robert. And as he spoke, he heard feet on the stair outside. Heavy feet and the clang of steel. No one breathed for a moment. The steel and the feet went on up the turret stairs. Then Robert sprang softly to the door. He pulled off his shoes. Wait here, he whispered, and stole quickly and softly after the boots and the spur clank. He peeped into the upper room. The man was there, and it was Jackin, all dripping with mud water, and he was fiddling about with the machinery which Robert felt sure worked the drawbridge. Robert banged the door suddenly and turned the great key in the lock, just as Jackin sprang to the inside of the door. Then he tore downstairs and into the little turret at the foot of the tower where the biggest window was. We ought to have defended this, he cried to the others as they followed him. He was just in time. Another man had swum over, and his fingers were on the window's ledge. Robert never knew how the man had managed to climb up out of the water, but he saw the clinging fingers and hit them as hard as he could with an iron bar that he caught up from the floor. The man fell with a splash into the moat water. In another moment, Robert was outside the little room, had banged its door, and was shooting home at the enormous bolts and calling to Cyril to lend a hand. Then they stood. The man fell with a splash into the moat water. Then they stood in the arched gatehouse, breathing hard and looking at each other. Jane's mouth was open. Cheer up, Jenny, said Robert. It it won't last much longer. There was a creaking above, and something rattled and shook. The pavement they stood on seemed to tremble. Then a crash told them that the drawbridge had been lowered to its place. That's that beast jacking, said Robert. There's still the portcullis. I'm almost certain that's worked from lower down. And the drawbridge rang and echoed hollowly to the hoofs of horses in the tramp of armed men. Up quick! Cried Robert. Let's drop things on them. Even the girls feeling Even the girls were feeling almost brave now. They followed Robert quickly, and under his directions began to drop stones out through the long narrow windows. There was a confused noise below, and some groans. "Oh dear," said Anthea, putting down the stone she was just going to drop up. "I'm afraid we have hurt somebody." Robert caught up the stone in a fury. "I should hope we had," he said. "I'd give something for a jolly good boiling kettle of lead. Surrender, indeed."
Good, well
And
done. Okay, bear with me 1 second.
Surprise! I was surprised.
Oh, surprised? At?
I was shocked.
What by?
Okay.
Never surrender. What? I'm sorry. What shocked you was?
Yeah, I mean you, it's the time is it's
Oh,
already
good.
time. Yeah.
Well, it seemed short instead of long.
It's okay, Lynn, it's okay.
Okay, no. I know. I'm always interested because sometimes when it's a bit of a chore to read, it seems like a long time, and you're thinking, "Oh, when's she going to tell me to stop?" But hopefully that felt short because that means you were enjoying it. Okay, let's give you your pronunciation. Very well done. Very few corrections. The first one's just the d at the end. Worked. So it's a kt ending. Worked.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Worked.
Not walked. Worked.
Worked. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Worked.
That's it. Good. Then, not the Windows ledge, just the window ledge. The window ledge is the ledge on a window. Okay? We don't call it the Windows ledge. It's got its own word. The window ledge. Try it.
Okay. Window ledge.
That's it. And the portcullis. I mean, you won't need that word unless you go to a castle. But the portcullis.
Portcullis.
That's it. Do you know what the portcullis is in a castle?
No idea.
Okay, well, you've got the drawbridge that goes up and down across the moat. It's like a bridge. But then you have the portcullis, and it's like a big, heavy gate, but it comes down. It doesn't open inwards or outwards. It falls down. If you've ever watched Robin Hood or other, like Ivanhoe, then when you see the castle, it's not got a door. It's got a portcullis. It's very spiky, heavy metal. Okay? Yeah, like a grate kind of thing.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, the next one, a boiling kettle of lead. So kettle that you make, if you look by you in the next to the fire, there's a kettle on the fire. Kettle.
It's boiling kettle of lead.
Lead.
A lead.
Lead. Yeah, the metal lead. It's a soft metal, not very good for humans. Lead.
Then stole quickly and solved up. I was confused about pronouncing lead and lead.
Yeah, lead is lead. The lid is something. If you look at the kettle next to the fire, and you can see it's got a lid. There's a lid on the kettle, so it's a lead kettle with a lid. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Well done. Okay.
About the lead, as in leader, I was confused about pronouncing leader. That's that's why I pronounce as lead.
Yeah, to
And
lead.
led.
Yeah, to lead is the verb. Leader is someone who leads, and the past of to lead is led, but without the a. Yeah, he led them to victory. So lead can turn into led, but only in the past tense. Okay.
I see.
Okay. Our clan leader in Vikings led us to victory this weekend. Okay. Sorry if you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. Next to read and
What? Lynn, what was that? Install quickly and softly after the boots.
I don't know. I think I just cut and pasted the wrong bit.
Okay. That's okay.
Just ignore it.
That's all right. All right. Okay, Lynn. Thank you, Lynn.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Sometimes my cut and paste goes a bit awry. Okay, and the last but not least to read today is Shiny. Shiny, are you ready?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. And now came more tramping and a pause, and then the thundering thump of the battering ram, and the little room was almost quite dark. "We've held it," cried Robert. "We won't surrender. The sun must set in a minute." Here, they are all joining underneath again. "Pity there is no time to get more stones." "Here, pour that water down on them. It's no good, of course, but they'll hate it." "Oh dear," said Jane. "Don't you think we'd better surrender?" "Never," said Robert. "We'll have a parley if you like, but we'll never surrender. Oh, I'll be a soldier when I grow up. You must see if I don't. I won't go into the civil service, whatever anyone says." "Let's wave a handkerchief and ask for a parley," said Jane pleaded. I don't believe the sun's going to set tonight at all. "Give them the water first, the brutes," said the bloodthirsty Robert. So Anthea tilted the pot over the nearest lead hole and poured. They heard a splash below, but no one below seemed to have felt it. And again the ram battered the great door. Anthea paused. "How idiotic," said Robert. Lying flat on the floor and putting one eye to the lead hole. "Of course, the holes go straight down into the gatehouse. That's for when the enemy has got past the door and the portcullis, and almost all is lost. Here, hand me the pot." He crawled down the three-cornered window ledge in the middle of the wall, and taking the pot from Anthea, poured the water out through the narrow arrow slit. And as he began to pour, the noise of the battering ram and the trembling of the fall and the shouts of surrender and the tailboat forever, all suddenly stopped and went out like the snuff of a candle. The little dark room seemed to whirl round and turn topsy-turvy, and when the children came to themselves, there they were, safe and sound, in the big front bedroom of their own house, the house with the ornamental nightmare iron top to the roof. They all crowded to the window and looked out. The moat and the tents and the besieging force were all gone, and there was the garden with its tangle of dahlias and marigolds and asters and late roses and the spiky iron railings and the quiet white road. Everyone drew a deep breath. Drew a deep breath. And that's all right, said Robert. I told you so. And I say, we didn't surrender, did we? And you glad now I wished for the castle? Asked Cyril. I think I'm now, said Anthea slowly. But I wouldn't wish for it again, I think. Squirrel dear. Oh, it was simple, splendid, said Jane unexpectedly. I wasn't frightened a bit. Oh, I say, Cyril was beginning, but Anthea stopped him. Look here, she said. It's just come into my head. This is the first thing we've wished for that hasn't got us into a row. And there hasn't been the least little scrap of a row about this. Nobody's ringing downstairs. We're safe and sound. We've had an awful jolly day. At least, not jolly exactly. But you know what I mean. And we know now how brave Robert is. And Cyril too. Of course, she added hastily. And Jane as well. And we haven't got into a row with a single grown-up.
Well done.
The door was open.
Okay, that's it. Well done. Nicely read. Very nicely read. Okay, so just bear with me 1 second. And I've just got a couple of words there. Okay. So let me cut and paste for you. Get a couple of smileys as well. Okay, first of all, battering ram. Okay, it's not a ram that's battering. Okay, a ram is a male sheep, but it's a battering ram. Okay, so there's no stress. Okay, it's just a weapon. Battering ram. Try it.
Battering ram.
That's it, good. And then again about the stress, the civil service. They're the people that actually run the United Kingdom, unelected, but we call them the civil service. Okay, try it.
The civil service.
That's it, good. It's just a title of the organisation that supports the government. Then this one you struggled on. Idiot, idiotic. So, you idiot. It's idiotic.
Idiotic.
That's it, idiotic. When you do something really silly, I often do idiotic things, okay, which makes me a bit of an idiot, okay. So slight difference, idiot on its own, idiotic to describe the action as being silly, okay. Then Anthea, not Anthea, Anthea.
Anthea.
That's it. Crowded, a crowd, lots of people in an area, it's crowded.
crowded.
Very good. And then Tram will like this one. Different names of flowers. The dahlias.
Dahlias.
Yeah, and dahlias are kind of spiky looking flowers. So the word is spiky.
Spiky.
Yes. Think about a hedgehog. Yeah, a hedgehog is spiky. It has spikes. Okay. So here's a hedgehog. Oh, hang on. Oh. Okay. That's a hedgehog. And if you look at a hedgehog, it's not furry, it's not soft, it's spiky. Okay, the next one, row in this context. A row is when things are placed one after the other. Pretty maids all in a row. Okay, so a row of houses. The houses are placed one after the other. Okay, a row is an argument. So we haven't had a row all day. Try it. A row.
A row.
That's it, yes. And also, if it's a verb, it's to row. Okay. We had a row about who was going to row. Okay. We looked at the row of boats and we had a row about who was going to row. Okay, so try this one, Shiny. We looked at the row of boats and we had a row about who was going to row. Try it.
We looked at the row of boats and we had a row about who was going to row.
To row.
To row.
Yeah, it's really difficult because they're both the same spelling, but the different pronunciation gives them different meaning. These are the sorts of words you have to just learn, okay? Oh, by the way, April, you have a row, okay? You have a row.
And whilst you are doing that, Lynn, I'm having a row at this moment.
If we're having a row about rowing, about row and row,
Yeah, rowing.
are you trying to row with me about it? No. I would say we're sitting in a row, but we're not really. We're sitting and standing in a row. So we've got April, Reem, myself and Traum all standing in a row, but I'm not going to row with you. You might say nobody's going to row here, but you wouldn't say to do a row. You can knit a row. If you're doing some knitting, you could say, I've knitted a row, but that lots of different ways of using it. But the difference is row, row. Learn it in context, okay? And then the next one for you, Shiny, is to rage, raging.
Raging.
Yeah, Raging Bull, very good film. And then haste, to do something hastily.
Hastily.
Good. And you get 2 smileys, window ledge and breath. Well done. Your head is spinning. Okay. Yeah, those words can be tricky, but they're fun. They're fun. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because there's no session next week, I'm going to read up to the end of this chapter, so you can do a little bit of listening practice, and then it's easier for us to remember where to start next week, okay? The door was opened suddenly and fiercely. "You ought to be ashamed of yourselves," said the voice of Martha, and they could tell by her voice that she was very angry indeed. "I thought you couldn't last through the day without getting up to some mischief. A person can't take a breath of air on the front doorstep, but you must be emptying the water jug on their heads. Off you go to bed, the lot of you, and try to get up better children in the morning. Now then, don't let me have to tell you twice. If I find any of you not in bed in 10 minutes, I'll let you know it, that's all. A new cap and everything." She flounced out amidst a disregarded chorus of regrets and apologies. The children were very sorry, but really it was not their faults. You can't help it if you're pouring water on a besieging foe and your castle suddenly changes into your house and everything changes with it except the water, and that happens to fall on somebody else's clean cap. "I don't know why the water didn't change into nothing, though," said Cyril. "Why should it?" asked Robert. "Water's water all over the world. Oh, water's water all the world over." "I expect the castle well was the same as ours in the stable yard," said Jane, and that was really the case. "I thought we couldn't get through a wish day without a row," said Cyril. "It was much too good to be true. Come on, Bobs, my military hero. If we lick into bed sharp, she won't be so furious, and perhaps she'll bring us up some supper. I'm jolly hungry. Good night, kids." "Good night. I hope the castle won't come creeping back in the night," said Jane. "Of course it won't," said Anthea briskly, "but Martha will. Not in the night, but in a minute. Here, turn round. I'll get that knot out of your pinafore strings." Wouldn't it have been degrading for Sir Wulfric de Talbot," said Jane dreamily, "if he could have known that half the besieged garrison wore pinafores and the other half knickerbockers?" "Yes, frightfully. Do stand still. You're only tightening the knot," said Anthea. Okay, so next time, 2 weeks, we'll start with chapter 8, okay? And I hope you enjoyed the session. Thanks for coming and take care. See you. Bye.
Bye. See you.
Oh, Sarah's here. Sarah, still no white dot. Okay, I'll send you a friend request.
Bye, bye everyone. Thank you,
Irene.
Leah.
Bye. Okay, so just let me tell Sarah. Sarah, we're finishing now. Thanks for heaving you. Oh no, thanks for having me. Yeah, see you, Nina. I hope you can hear next time. Oh, well, I hope you can speak next time. That's the most important thing. Let me just see if I can find this link for Sarah. So I'm going to try to find a link for you, which I couldn't find earlier. So, Sarah, try this link. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I have to go now, so I will hopefully speak to you at some point next time, Sarah. Sorry you didn't get to speak today, but sometimes you have to do some fiddling around with your voice settings. Nina, you might find that link useful too, okay? Anyway, take care. Bye. Don't forget to log out.